Aloha everyone and welcome back. This is Marissa Indigo with Divine DNA Blueprint Mystery School, and I also have a visitor with us today. This is one of our rescue animals, Bijou. Super cute. So she's hanging out with us today. So I was very excited to share some codes that I have received for the month of April for 2022. It's been an interesting time of receiving information, going through the process, receiving code, breaking them down, the light codes, receiving them and digesting them through the various filters and layers of consciousness, and witnessing what they bring forth, what they pull from the consciousness, from different layers of being and the DNA, and then reviewing them. So it's been a wonderful, deep time. Needless to say. So I'll share a little bit about how this has come through, and then I have a beautiful activation that I've recorded for you. So essentially, this is an oracle transmission received in process and then now brought forth in a way that is transmissible to communicate it. In regards to the month of April 2022, ruled by the number 4, it is an angelic or archangelic frequency of activation for us. And 4 is another layer of foundation, stabilization, balance. So April's always mega activations for us. This year proves to be no different, but if anything, exponentially so, right? It's like 3 times, 4 times what usual years have been before, as the light activates so much. We're getting hit with such strong light. It is really bringing up a lot for us to witness. So that's where I'm going with this, is that we're going to continue on the path of consciousness to see so much, see things for ourselves, see things in others. We're really going to be entering a whole new level of the Hall of Sacred Mirrors, where we're engaging and seeing information and energy, seeing what we see, how it impacts us and how we feel. If there's reactivity, are we triggered by things? Are we holding judgment? Like, there's such a very deep level of revelation of the self, where we're really seeing aspects of ourselves that can be very old fears, old stories. There's a lot being purged from deep within, the deeper layers of consciousness. Try to keep this as general as I can, but the themes essentially are the death and rebirth, right? A lot of ego death, a lot of rebirth as we kind of come more, and more is being received for ourselves of who we truly are. And it's a hard process to describe with words, because words can make things linear or kind of trap the concepts, or maybe even limit, the information that I'm trying to share with you all. But essentially, we're going to be seeing so much on so many levels, things that we vibe with and things that we do not. And it's going to continue to amplify, seeing things that were like, no, that's not for me, and things that are, yes, that's for me. And then seeing how our yeses and nos may be different from others, maybe different from family members, maybe different from friends, community organizations. We're going to start seeing a lot of shifts with our social circles. And it's just an amazing process, because we may see things that to us feel how our life, how our consciousness maybe perceives things. We're going to really go into this kind of duality, battling, but it's not a battling, but it can be if we're having resistance to releasing things, letting go of things. If we want to hold on to anger, that's where these battle dynamics come in. If we're seeing something that we're finding offensive or triggering, or that feels like to our moral core feels wrong to see it, it's going to strike a chord with us. And it's up to the individual to determine how they want to work with that, how they want to work through that, how they want to just let it go through deeply through us, in our consciousness and our emotions and our memories, deep layers of revelation for death and rebirth. Another sip of water. Hmm. Another great way to try to frame this while being as general as possible, to try to transmit the most expansion and purity of the frequencies for you to determine what this means for you. Like, I don't want to tell you, but what it means for you, just sharing what it has meant for me. But a great way to try to phrase this, seeing very clearly, is what is sacred to us? What is sacred to you? Like, what is unshakably, like, this is a boundary, this is very sacred. And our definition of that may be very different from other people. And that's okay. It's totally fine and perfect. That's why we're individuals here having this experience, but we can find that it can be really triggering. So that's why Joan of Arc is here, because she is a defender of the sacred, or not necessarily even defense or being in a defensive mode or an offensive mode at all, but just holding that value and that love and making that be the priority as we are engaging right now with the world, with aspects of ourselves, holding that compassion, and with others as we go about our day. So with that overarching archangelic space holding going on with the archangels the month of April, we have, look at all the themes we have. Right now, as I'm sharing this transmission with you, the Lyrid meteor shower is about to begin. And this always happens like the third week, fourth week of April. And we're bringing in these, we're getting the Lyran from the Lyrids, the Lyran beings are coming back, the Christed lion beings, Archangel Ariel, and most predominantly, who I'm just so excited to share, is Saint Joan of Arc. So she was an amazing and very courageous young woman, who is a wonderful symbol for everyone to speak their truth with grace and to trust our truth, and to also trust ourselves to be able to say it with grace and with love. We may find others cannot right now. There's a lot of projection. There's a lot of the spewing of really pretty nasty energies of hatred, as people are trying to work through their inner world by the outside. They're not yet turned inward. So you can see that they're reflecting what's being held inside, and they're reflecting or unconsciously projecting it at people as they're trying to work through it in an unconscious way. So there's a lot of energies to navigate here. There's our own stuff, there's everyone else's, there's building new earth. You know, there's a lot of moving parts. This is a big month. So Joan of Arc has come through, Saint Joan of Arc, to support us in trusting what we feel and genuinely feel at soul level, to be right, to be what we resonate with. And it's not, again, about fixating on the battle program of I'm right, you're wrong, because everyone is right for their consciousness. And that's a tough one to be completely neutral with, having so much peace inside that we are allowed to have peace when another brings something other, what we perceive to be other, you know? There have been a lot of really ancient core themes that humanity has experienced over the years of colonization, of segregation, class systems, abuse on all levels. And so Joan of Arc came in most strongly for me to share with Mother Mary and Archangel Ariel, who is the lion or the lioness of God. Just this beautiful support, and that it's really about continuing to listen to our hearts and trust what we are hearing, what we are feeling, what is our truth. We're going to continue to uncover more layers of what our truth is. And the difficulty in this navigation at first, until we consistently engage in this way of existing, the difficulty is not letting our separate truths divide us. We may have to take up other pursuits and stuff. Things may shift, you know, relationship dynamics may shift. And that's all natural. You know, everything is magnetics. It's not personal, it's energy. So is something aligned? Is someone aligned? Or maybe not anymore. What is? It's about navigating and feeling in what is. And speaking our truth, however we have to do that, can be really subtle ways that we don't have to be out on a platform, out on a street corner, anything like that. And it's a throat chakra activation for humanity to say, you know, that's not for me. I just don't really agree with that. And we can agree to disagree, but this is just how I feel. I honor how you feel too. I honor how I feel. I honor how you feel. And then leave it at that and then move on. Because there's going to be another opportunity to see something else that is challenging for the ego consciousness to. And there's many layers. The reason we're having such strong responses and triggers is because it's pinging magnetically. It's pulling out something of likeness, of a likeness of frequency or resonance. So it's showing us trauma or trauma patterning or old beliefs. So as you can see, it is a huge topic. And hence, with standing up for our truth comes Joan of Arc, because she was an amazing example of a divine feminine warrior who was guided by the divine and trusted her connection to the divine, and really didn't let anyone tell her what her reality was or what her mission was. She was very strong in her connection to her higher self and her soul, and knew what was right and appropriate for her and what she was guided to do on her mission, her sacred mission. And she went forth and did it with a lot of courage and also speaking the truth. So we can do that with love. We can sense into who we can even speak to right now. Sometimes it's an echo chamber. Everyone's just yelling into it. No one's listening to anybody. So you have to see, well, where is it even, you know, worth the energy to have discussion. So sometimes it's just between you and you. We're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this change in my life. I trust. And kind of working through the battle programs within. So it brings me so much joy. I'm just petting little Bijou. She's just chilling and resting with us here. It's raining and storming. It's the day after Easter. This month is a massive month. There's so much. And we still have quite a bit of it, you know, like a third left. So I am so grateful to share this with you. I hope it brings you inspiration and courage. And it's really bringing in that quality of the dove as well, that grace. So we're not, you know, forcing our reality. We're really learning a lot about the fine tuning of energy and relationships and emotions with one another and with ourselves. So we're doing a lot of repatterning, reparenting, a repatterning of the neurology. This is with the vagus nerves. This is very deep. So all of humanity is in this, and some have tools. Some are, we're really lucky to have tools or be able to communicate with one another and share and help one another. And some people don't have tools. So with that, I think it's important for those of us who are so blessed to have tools to kind of do our part to hold the peace and allow, because really what we're seeing is a lot of people in a lot of pain, and they're not even in touch with their pain yet. It's coming through with anger and judgment, fear, the most core of the transformational human experiences, right? Yes. So another code I wanted to share is the word encouragement. When we break it down, has en, which means in, courage, which means to have heart, to have courage, and month or mind. So it's the heart fire within us, in the mind as well. So it's really important that we're working, you know, figure eight between mind and heart, figure eight between mind and heart. And where's the center line of that? Throat. So speaking our truth, but with honor and respect, sacred respect, respecting others. If they cannot respect us, then we can just choose to disengage from that kind of energy and move on. So without further ado, I thank you so much for joining. We've got a lot of great courses up at the Mystery School. If you are interested in breath work to support you in this practice, I actually have a really great class, the Bliss of Breath 101. And there's 5 different breath practices in there to support you at various emotional states. And this, again, it's not about controlling our state, it's about regulating, coming back into a sense of balance in the brain hemispheres and the nervous system, so that we can continue to be spiritually grounded during this process. So I'll put a link to that awesome class below. And I hope you love the activation here with Joan of Arc and the Lioness of God, Archangel Ariel. Just such beautiful themes here. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you soon. Take care. Greetings and welcome to this Oracle transmission. This is Marissa Indigo of Divine DNA Blueprint Mystery School to share a transmission with Saint Joan of Arc and Archangel Ariel, the Lioness of God. This is an energetic transmission to support us in rapid levels and layers of clearing distortion from our fields, our minds, our hearts, memories, and having a beautiful sword in hand to cut cords, to sever all ties from anything which is no longer true for us, to have the courage in our convictions of what truth is for us, and to have the grace to not impose it on anyone else, or judge anyone, or judge ourselves for our differences. Both Saint Joan of Arc and Archangel Ariel are also here to offer support and protection for the women and the children, the animals, the populations that we find the most vulnerable during massive shift upon planet Earth. So Archangel Ariel is here with this beautiful lion, beautiful golden energies, beautiful pure love, Christed light here, bringing in the resurrection codes, the rebirth, the renewal, that pure light of that experience when we come out of a contraction and into an expansion. This can happen with each breath consciously, and so both of these beautiful guides, angels and saints, are here to support us in coming back to the breath, honoring that the nervous systems are being put through a lot right now with exposure to all of the different energies. The solar and space weather has been a lot with the solar maximum, which continues to accelerate. So that in itself is very taxing to the nervous system. And we do need to be mindful of supplementation of our diet with superfoods, herbs, anti-inflammatory, nerve support to support the physical body and also the breath. And by supporting both of these, so really coming into the breath and realizing that on the inhale and the exhale is the receiving of information and the surrender and the return to pure peace, the Holy Spirit within, the soul level, deep peace and wisdom, which is unshakable. And this is a bedrock for us. Phrasing that came through from the divine last week was the rock of the ages. And this is building a strong foundation beneath us for an emotional, psychological reserve of energy. So the self-care through breath and taking good care of ourselves as well nutritionally, and emotional support for ourselves is vital at this time, that we may have the light body, the light quotient, the frequencies sustained in order to continue. We are learning how to embody higher and higher light quotients now into the nervous system, and as we receive jolts of this energy, it's activating a lot which is not in resonance. So we may be witnessing so much internally of our own process, being maybe even surprised, like, wow, I still had that fear, or wow, that's really triggering me, wow, this is really pulling my attention a lot, so I've got to sit with this and unpack and see what's going on and dive into the feelings, dive into the story, the wisdom, alchemizing anything into medicine, which it already is. And this is a lot of removing more walls from the heart and having the courage to have an open heart with boundaries. Our love is unconditional, our boundaries are not, but out in the world to anchor the peace and to be a wayshower, to be a light bringer, a light keeper, a shadow worker, a light worker, a star worker. Earth angel here at the time of the shift. So these are some beautiful codes. So we see Archangel Ariel with the lion and the Lyran beings here that are here. They're coming now. Their energetic signatures, the light codes are pouring in for us to literally grasp out of the air about us, to receive in our hearts the codes of the Christed Lyran beings. We've got that gold energy with the lions here really supporting us. Also the heart of Regulus, this beautiful golden heart of the lion, has been an aspect in the cosmos on and off the last few months. So everything is layering up, stacking up. So those are some of the wisdom codes coming through from Archangel Ariel. And to stand our ground with what we hold sacred, in this case, the innocents and the vulnerable. So the children, the elders, and nature, animals. Having a voice as well could be a major part of this for those who are voiceless. And learning how to not only trust ourselves to speak our truth, which requires immense amounts of courage and can be terrifying, and clearing that terror from our nervous systems too. Holding ourselves in this, but not only having the courage to speak up or to use our voices as a boundary, which is a global initiation, by the way. It's just however long it takes everyone to say no, or a vast majority, I should say, to say no more. Thank you so much. Moving on. So that's coming through from Archangel Ariel. Just beautiful. Thank you so much. And Joan of Arc is bringing in that focus on what we hold sacred, what we hold dear, that focus on high integrity and holding our love, holding ourselves in love, even when we're in a mess, that the mess too is blessed. And really holding such deep layers of compassion for ourselves and for all, because we realize, we acknowledge, we see, we feel through the other and our own being that everyone is learning how to use their voice, and everyone is also at different phases of this as a skill. So some people are communicating directly, unconsciously from a wounded state, which can be very painful. It can feel like barbs. It can feel like jabs and being in physical battle energetically, to have that kind of very strong anger or these hatred kind of energetics. And that's because people have had them inside in the DNA for maybe many lives, and they're not yet able to see it, but they're feeling it, and they're reacting to everything that causes them to feel that. And we are feeling it maybe in different ways as well, but there's different levels of how long have people been doing their best to have a conscious practice of checking in with self. So we must hold that sacred respect and deep love and not take it personal from those who are in the process of remembering. There's so many layers to this. We see there's just a beginning of a stirring from slumber, and in that people can be kind of grouchy or cranky and cantankerous, and we just don't let that affect. Don't take it, don't dish it. Hold them in neutrality, hold them in love. If you have to disengage, we disengage, but we hold all in this beautiful love of the Mother. Mother Mary has come in as, and with Divine Mother, all of the emanations, whatever resonates with you the most, and this will shift depending on where you are in your consciousness, what aspect you are working through, what is arising, working through pain or trauma. There will be different aspects versus when we're on our, for lack of better words, crusade, as Joan of Arc would say. And in this instance, the crusade is not that there is battle to be fought outside with one another, but that there is a battle within the individual, and each is responsible for tending that battle, so that then there are no longer battles between one another outside. So this is the code. The sacred light warrior, and Joan of Arc is here as a saint of the divine feminine, and very much in alignment, sharing many of the traits with Archangel Ariel. It's the Gnosis, the Sophia, having that self-awareness, allowing ourselves to feel whatever we're feeling. Don't be judging it, embarrassed by it, like, oh, this again. We must abstain from judgment and instead allow Divine Mother to come through as we hold ourselves in process live. The more we do this for ourselves, it's easier to do that for others, which may be as simple as not engaging with somebody. If it's someone we can communicate with, maybe that love can go further, but some it's just from afar. That's fine too. With the Pluto alignment right now, Pluto square the sun, this is our identity. A lot of the old subconscious, we also have the South Node, the dragon's tail, in Pluto. So we're flipping back unconsciously to a way of reactivity or wanting to control or dominate. All of us have these codes somehow. And we must go deeper under that to the fear, which is the root cause, the sensations of separation from our truth, from our higher self, from our love, from our pure power, from our wisdom. That's what we're working. And by working, we mean just putting it down and allowing the embodiment to come back. We are embodying more and more light of the soul into the physical body. This causes physical discomfort, emotional upset, psychological upset. It can trigger because of what's going on with the vagus nerve and the limbic brain stem and all that is stored in there. That is corticalization of the brain, the grooves worn into the neurology, the pain body throughout the experience. All of it is coming up and out in peels that we can deal with layers at a time. So we must know that others too are in this same position, but it's all different. Some we have it in common with, which is really wonderful. And the encouragement here is see where the resonance is. Begin to realize, remember again, the 4 agreements. Okay, the 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. And always do your best. So that is the code, that is the sword, that is the guiding holy fire, the sacred direction in a beautiful surrender and trust to your higher self. You can always call upon Archangel Ariel and Saint Joan of Arc to support you in expanding your courage, because as the heart opens, we have to be more of an embodier of our truth, and this can include grounding it into the physical through the instrument of the voice, which can be very uncomfortable for people. We're trying to have a conscious communication with others, and this is also the importance of compassionate communication, again, or nonviolent communication. Many do not yet have this skill, and if we do, it is up to us to take it out into the world. Obviously, do not receive an excess of abuse or toxic energy, have the boundaries, but this is the core, this is the sword that we are using to go forward. So thank you so much. Just sending you so much love. This is a transmission again with Archangel Ariel, and bringing in the beautiful Lyrid or Lyran beings, inviting you to receive the inspiration and the light codes twinkling above, sparkling above, coming through the stardust in the Lyrid meteor shower. And Saint Joan of Arc here to support you in this process of supporting self and other in weaving a tapestry of love so strong, so pure, so beautiful, so magical, that it consistently amazes us every day. Thank you so much for joining us. Namaste.